Hi, my name is Tina and this is Knitting Blooms. You can find show notes for everything I talk about on my blog at www.knittingblooms.com. And if I miss a link, please feel free to contact me on Ravelry as Bloomingknitter, or you can email me at knittingblooms@gmail.com. Come and join the Ravelry group so you can be eligible for all the prize drawings. And be sure to introduce yourself so that I can get to know you also. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as Bloomingknitter. And don't forget to click the like button on Facebook for Knitting Blooms. Today I'm going to answer a question from the What Have You Always Wanted to Know About thread. This question is from Audrey Lee, and she asks, I would like to know how your knit club got started. Do they just come to your house once a month, or do you meet at different places weekly? I don't know if this is feasible for me to do right now, but I think it would be so much fun. Knit club is so much fun. One of the reasons why I enjoy knitting so much is because I have met so many new people through knitting and through knit clubs and through retreats and what have you. And if you don't have a knit club in your area, I highly recommend that you start one of your own. Now, I do have my knit club meet at my house. And the way that we got started actually was prior to when I was a knitter, I wanted to start a stamp club. And I had lots of friends who were stampers. And a lot of us were consultants for different stamping companies, such as Close to My Heart, Creative Memories, Stampin' Up! And we just wanted to get together and stamp and share the products that we were selling. So I decided that I was going to get all my friends together and we were going to start a stamp club. Originally, I was going to start it and have everybody come to my house. But at the time, I was working at a stamp shop, a local stamp shop, and the owner said, well, let's have it at the shop. And I tried to explain to her that because we were consultants for these other companies, we would potentially be talking about these other products that she did not sell in her store. Well, she said that she was okay with that, but in the end, she wasn't as okay as she thought she was, and we only ended up having one club at her store. But like I said, I had always intended on having club at my house, so it wasn't a big deal when the next month we decided to just go ahead and meet at my house instead. So all of my friends would come over and we would have just a Saturday morning stamp club. And originally when we were doing stamp club, we would have somebody volunteer to teach a technique or do a demonstration of some sort. And then we would do, you know, miscellaneous stamping. Either we would do stamp a stack or something like that each week. But now it's a knitting group, we don't do that. And how it converted to knitting group was when I bought my house back in 2004, we were still doing stamp club. And the basement was kind of like my stamp studio. And I had a whole big area for all of my stamps and my scrapbooking supplies, and I would set up 6-foot tables in the basement, 4 6-foot tables, and we would spread out and do all kinds of stamping, and it was just fabulous. Well, then I became a knitter, and the table setting, you know, sitting at a table to knit at for knit club just wasn't, you know, as cozy as I would have liked. So in 2007, I think it was, we remodeled the basement. We had a, it wasn't a wet bar, but it was a bar in the basement. We ripped that out and we opened up the basement and we purchased couches and, you know, made it more of it was already a finished basement, but we made it more of a living room basement versus just one big room that we set up tables in so that it could be, you know, more cozy for knit club. And then I proceeded to convince a lot of my stamping friends to become knitters. And we slowly went from, you know, most people bringing their stamping stuff to most people bringing their knitting stuff to now we have no stampers that come to club anymore, and it's all just knitters. And we do meet at my house once a month on the first Saturday of the month. And usually what I do is I have a list, and actually because of all the years that I have been doing this, I have a list of over 80 people on my email list. And now some of those people are stampers, but I still like to keep them involved, and if they want to show up, if they decide they want to become a knitter, they can, or they can just bring their stamping stuff. It doesn't have to, you don't have to come and knit. You can come and bring whatever craft is that you want to work on. So I do keep everybody on my list, unless they decide they don't want to be on the list anymore. And yeah, so I have a very long list of people on the email list, and the week before club, I usually send out an email saying, this is when club is going to be next week, and I find out who's coming because I like to plan ahead to make sure that I have enough seating available for people. And I usually have between 8 and 15 people show up for club every month. Usually in the summertime it's less people, although this past summer we had like 15 people every month. It was crazy. Because usually in the summer people are on vacation, they don't want to, you know, they don't have time to be going to knit club, but this year we had a lot of people. But like I said, usually we have 8 to 15 people that come to club, and we just sit and share each other's company and knit, and there's so much sharing going on as far as what projects people are working on, where they got their patterns, you know, that all that sort of thing. You know, people are showing different things if they've learned a new technique, or you know, whatever. It's just so much fun just to spend the day. I usually have club from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. Sometimes we go till 5 or 6, but it seems like lately VKN is the same night, so I need time to clean up from knit club and then get ready for VKN. So usually I try and get everybody packed up and ready to go by 4 o'clock so that I have, or you know, an hour or two to get ready for VKN. And then sometimes we skip months. I usually have knit club every month, but then there's the months that we have that we skip for whatever reason. Like we skipped November because the following weekend I was going to Knit in the Mitten. Sometimes we switch from the first weekend to the second weekend of the month, depending on if there's a holiday weekend. You know, like for the 4th of July, a lot of times people go away for the weekend. So we might skip and we might have the second weekend of July. But most of the time it's the first weekend of the month. And, you know, not everybody comes every month. And then there's people that come, you know, every few months. And it's just a lot of fun to get together and to visit with everybody. What else? Oh, and I also meet so many new people on Ravelry. And then, you know, if they live in the area, you know, I try to include them as well. If you are starting a knit club and you feel uncomfortable about having people come to your home, you can always start your knit club by going to the coffee shop on the corner or whatever. You know, there's lots of options for meeting outside of the home. But like I said, if you do not have a knit club in your area, I highly recommend starting one. There's so many people on Ravelry that if you went to a group or you search for people in your area, or there's probably groups for different states that you could probably post to, and start your own knit club and invite people from Ravelry. And again, just meet at a local coffee shop, or you know, a restaurant or something, and get your group started. And then when you get a good following and you have a number of friends and you have gotten to know those friends, then you can bring them to your home if you decide that you want to do that, or just continue meeting at the coffee shop. We actually have another group that originally I started going to before when I first started as a knitter, and they met at the coffee shop, and they would meet there every Wednesday evening. And you you know, you meet a lot of people that way. If you have a knit group in your area, try going to it. You know, you never know who you might meet and who you might become great friends with.